I am the shadow who carries the weight of all. Thanos seeks balance to answer the cosmos's call. Worlds choke on plenty, yet drown in their own excess. My hand brings silence where chaos will not confess. A farmer of death, I sow seeds the stars must bear, half into nothing, yet mercy is what I share. You curse my resolve, but blind to the deeper pain. You cling to abundance, yet squander what you gain. The stones in my grasp are fragments of fate aligned. Infinity's voice resounds in this hand of mine. I bend not for gods, nor yield to the cries of kings, for balance is truer than all your fleeting things. I watched as my Titan fell prey to its own pride. No ear for my warning, no hand to stand beside. So burned into memory, ashes of kin and friend, I vowed that this cycle of ruin must find its end. So call me a tyrant, a butcher of hope, a bane, yet history whispers my name through its endless chain. For mercy is cruel, yet cruelty mercy's twin, and I am the hand that decides what shall not begin. Upon my Titan we thrived till the soil grew thin, a hunger unyielding where no one could win. Our numbers kept rising, the balance undone, the dawn of collapse outshone every sun. The more mouths that opened, the less we could feed. The planet itself bent and cracked at our need. Each breath drew us closer to famine's black gate, yet none saw the pattern I'd learned to equate. Resources dwindled, foundations grew weak, the silence of reason no counsel would seek. Population soaring, their laughter a knife, I watched as excess devoured their life. Equilibrium's law, immutable, bare, showed Titan was drowning in too much to spare. For surplus is fleeting, and scarcity reigns when unchecked expansion tightens its chains. Thus carved in my soul was a terrible truth. Survival and ruin entwine from their youth. A system will break when its threads overgrow, and Titan was first of the many I'd know. Unchecked, life consumes what it never sustains. A cycle of hunger runs deep in its veins. The larger the crowd, the sharper the fall, the echo of chaos consuming it all. Scarcity breeds the unrest no force can contain. Instability follows as storms follow rain. Collapse accelerates once it begins. The spiral turns faster, devouring its kin. I saw in the stars the same pattern arise, world after world where the desperate dies. Life multiplies blindly, it feasts without care, till balance is shattered and none can repair. The ruin of Titan was only a seed, a lesson the universe begged me to heed. Unchecked life is cancer, it spreads without pause, unmaking the order, dissolving the laws. So spoke I of mercy and halving the whole, but none would attend to the plea of my soul. They laughed at the cure, but I carried the proof. Their fate was a feedback, relentless, aloof. I offered a cure, let chance cut the line, half spared, half vanished, and balance divine. No suffering chosen, no cruelty shown, just mercy impartial, necessity grown. But Titan's proud rulers dismissed me with scorn. They mocked my solution as madness, forlorn. They clung to abundance, illusions of might, and blinded their eyes to the imminent night. When ruin descended, my prophecy burned. To ashes of kin, all my warnings returned. The cities lay silent, the voices all gone. Titan was proof of the path I'd drawn on. If growth brings starvation, then loss must restore. The balance of plenty demands cutting more. What kindness is comfort that ends in decay? True mercy is harshness that keeps death away. Rejected yet vindicated, I stood alone, my heart turned to granite, my vision to stone. For none will believe till the end has begun, so I became the ender, the necessary one. I walked through the ruins where Titans once dreamed. The silence of stone was far harsher than screamed. A kingdom of dust where no children would play, the echo of hubris that withered away. I knew then the pattern was never confined, not Titan alone, but the whole of mankind. Each world that I visited mirrored our fate. Their plenty gave birth to the seeds of their state. Prosperity thrives till it fractures the core. The stronger they grow, they demand even more. No soil can answer, no ocean can give, for unchecked expansion denies us to live. Thus Titan's demise was no singular fall, it whispered the truth of existence to all. The cycle is endless unless it is broken, a law carved in ash by silence unspoken. The universe needed correction, I swore, for thriving was nothing but death at the door. So Titan became both a tomb and a key, unlocking the burden that settled on me. I tested my mercy from planet to star, a swift, even hand where their numbers too far. No bias, no malice, the chance was the blade, and balance was purchased by lives that I weighed. My armies descended, the order was clear, half taken to dust, and the rest left to steer. Those screams filled the air, I called it release, an end to the hunger, a promise of peace. On Zehobere's soil I first took her hand, a child in the chaos who could understand. I showed her the blade, how it balanced its side, for fairness, not fury, was all I applied. Each world that was halved found its silence anew, resources stretched for the lives that still drew. The living despised me, the dying were still, yet mercy was written in fate and in will. From blood came a daughter, my Gomorrah, my own, a symbol that balance could yet be made known. She hated my truth, but her path I had set. The edge of the blade was the law they'd forget. But mercy demanded an ironclad hand, enforcers to strike where the strong made their stand. My black order followed, elite and precise, their loyalty bought by conviction, not price. Yet planets resisted, their rebellions grew. Compliance was fragile, resentment broke through. For every world balanced, another defied, and blood was the cost where the stubborn had lied. The fleets that I summoned, the armies I fed, required their own share of resources bled. The burden of mercy grew heavy with scale. Each triumph revealed how the system could fail. To cull every planet was power consumed, a mercy that spread, yet resentment entombed. My network was vast, but the cracks still appeared. The balance was fragile, the outcome unclear. Though order was held by the might of my name, I knew in my heart it was never the same. For force cannot govern what chaos will breed. A truer solution the cosmos would need. They named me a tyrant, though savior I stood. My mercy was balance, my justice was good, but Gomorrah looked on with a hatred so deep. Her silence was sharper than blades that can sweep. Survivors despised me, their voices were flame. They cursed me as monster, erasing my name. Yet famine was halted where once it had spread. The proof of my mercy lay plain with their dead. Civilizations fractured, their balance still broke. Economies failed, though I carried the yoke. The chaos I ended returned in disguise. Their order collapsed, though my numbers were wise. Gomorrah defied me, my daughter, my pride, rejecting the mercy in which I abide. Her tears were a mirror, her voice was a spear. She said I was cruel where I whispered sincere. Yet mercy unyielding will not be undone. I held to the path that no other had won. If love could not save me, conviction would stay, for balance demands that dissent fade away. Resistance had shown me the folly of scale. A planet-by-planet correction would fail. Rebellion was endless, compliance was thin. The universe laughed at the mercy within. No fleet could be endless, no war without end. The balance I sought would forever suspend. A broader solution, a singular stroke, was needed to silence the chaos that spoke. Thus turned I my gaze to the stones in their might, the fragments of order, the forces of light. Together they'd answer what armies could not. A balance eternal, a merciful blot. The gauntlet would bind them, infinity's flame, and through it the universe bent to my claim. No cull one by one, no more wars to ignite, but one single act to set all worlds aright. The cosmos itself was the system I weighed. One choice, one moment, one balance conveyed. To gather the stones was the journey begun, a fate to be sealed when their power was won. I stood with the stones in the gauntlet of fire, all destiny forged in a single desire. A universe teetered, divided, unspared. One gesture of will and the burden was bared. I snapped, and the silence swept over the stars, half vanished to dust, freed from hunger's scars. No bias was given, no cruelty shown. The chance of existence was perfectly thrown. Yet screams filled the void where the vanished had lain. Survivors looked on with a terror like pain. Families shattered, their children undone, civilizations divided, though balance was won. Division was mercy, but mercy was grief. The cost of renewal was loss without brief. The universe balanced, resources aligned, yet sorrow erupted in every mind. But I, undeterred, called it beautiful still, for mercy is harsh when it bends to the will. Half lived, half were gone, yet the cosmos would stand, balanced forever by one fateful hand. The flaw in my mercy revealed itself clear, survivors remembered, and memory breeds fear. The balance I gave them was scorned, cast aside, for grief is rebellion that none can abide. I saw in their sorrow the spark of their rage, a flame that would burn through the order I'd stage. No act could be final if memory stayed, for loss is a weapon the living have made. Thus memory itself became mine to erase, the echo of mourning excised from its place. No history left to inspire revolt, no grief in their hearts, no resistance to jolt. A universe new, unburdened, unscarred, a canvas unbroken, perfection unmarred. For silence is mercy and memory chains, and order must rise when no record remains. So disassociation became my decree, to sever remembrance, to set beings free. For only through absence of past could they live, a mercy complete, the most I could give. The gauntlet slipped free, yet I did not weep, for knowledge was sown in the soil I'd reap. Through famine and silence, through blood and through flame, I walked where none other would dare stake a claim. But negation alone was too brittle to hold. It shattered and faltered, grew empty and cold. Yet from its collapse came a pattern refined, a greater design that unfolded in kind. For fate was no thief, but the mirror I made, reflecting the lesson my journey displayed. I showed them the path through destruction and loss, the order of cosmos inscribed by the cost. The dark and the light are not foes to divide, they circle together, each one justified. I sought to command them, to bind them as mine, yet balance arises when both intertwine. So armies dissolved, and empire decayed, yet wisdom is honored in stories that stayed. The end was not theft, but conclusion foretold. A cycle completed, a story retold.